Jax's revenge domain. The sound of metal hitting concrete still rings in my ears. Bradley Pierce's boot connected with my prototype for the third time, and 22 years of work scattered across the testing facility floor like expensive confetti. "This outdated junk is exactly why we're falling behind," he announced to the room full of clients. Guy's got the kind of confidence that only comes from an MBA and about 5 years of telling people what to do. I'm Garrett Morrison, 49 years old, and I just watched this kid destroy the best thing I'd ever built. Look, these weren't just any clients sitting there watching my life's work get kicked around. Patterson Industrial, biggest manufacturing group on the West Coast. Patricia Stone, their head of operations, had been quiet during my whole presentation. But her eyes, sharp as a tack, taking in every detail of how my system worked without all the fancy electronics that break down every other week in real factories. "We'll develop something much more sophisticated," Bradley kept going, straightening his tie like he was about to close some big deal. "Something that actually fits with modern industry standards. Garrett's approach is..." He paused, hunting for the right way to make me sound like an idiot. "Manually intensive, impractical for serious manufacturing." I stood there looking at the wreckage. This wasn't just some prototype. This was my answer to every production line failure I'd seen in 2 decades. Every time some million-dollar system went down because a computer chip couldn't handle factory dust or heat, my system used mechanical controls any decent maintenance guy could fix with a wrench and some common sense. Patricia Stone walked over to the scattered parts, crouched down, and picked up a pressure valve that survived Bradley's little tantrum. "Interesting design," she said quietly. "Can I have your contact information?" That caught everyone off guard. Bradley's smile flickered like a bad light bulb. "Patricia, I assure you our development team will create something much more aligned with current automation trends. Garrett's mechanical approach is antiquated for today's smart factory requirements." She pocketed my business card without even looking at him. "Thank you all for your time. We'll be in touch." After everyone cleared out, I got down on my knees and started picking up pieces. Each part represented hours of machining, testing, adjusting. The gear system that could handle 10 times what electronic stuff could take. The fail-safes that kept working, even covered in metal shavings and coolant. "Leave it," Bradley said, standing over me. "Maintenance will clean up." I looked up at him. Kid's 34, never spent a day on a factory floor, never had his hands dirty fixing a machine at 2 a.m. while some deadline breathed down his neck. "These are custom parts. Some took weeks to make." "Parts for a project that's done," he said, checking his watch. "Design committee agreed with my assessment. We're going digital. Full IoT connectivity, predictive maintenance, the whole 9 yards. You never sent my documentation to any committee. You told me the review was next week." Bradley shrugged. "I fast-tracked it. Your design doesn't meet market expectations. Too primitive, too much manual work." He fixed his jacket. "Take the day off. Clear your head. Tomorrow you're working with Rogers on sensor stuff. A demotion. Not even trying to hide it. Here's the thing about me. I've been doing this for 22 years. Started right out of college at a small shop that made heavy industrial equipment. Spent my first 10 years learning how things actually work in the real world. Not how they're supposed to work according to some textbook, but how they hold up when they're running 24/7 in places that would fry most electronics in a week. I came to this company 3 years ago because they had a reputation for solving tough problems. What I found was a place that lost its way, chasing every new tech trend instead of focusing on what actually worked. When Bradley showed up 18 months ago, things got worse fast. All he cared about was digital transformation, smart systems, Industry 4.0, buzzwords that looked great in PowerPoint but fell apart when they met reality. For the past year and a half, my projects kept getting killed or redirected. Resources went to flashier stuff. My team got reassigned. Bradley wanted solutions that impressed executives in meetings, not ones that actually kept production lines running. So anyway, 3 days after watching my prototype get turned into scrap metal, my personal phone rings with a number I don't know. "Garrett Morrison. Patricia Stone from Patterson Industrial. I'd like to discuss your automation concepts privately." My heart started pounding. "I'm not sure what I can share outside company channels. I understand your position, but I think your approach addresses real problems we've been dealing with. Would you meet to discuss general concepts only?" We set up a meeting at this machine shop on the edge of the industrial district. I brought just my notebook and some sketches, nothing that would get me in trouble, just ideas I could draw and explain. When Patricia showed up, she told me who she really was. Not just operations head for Patterson Industrial. She's on the board of the National Manufacturing Association, the people who set standards for factories across the country. Your mechanical approach solves problems that have cost us millions, she said, looking through my sketches. We install these fancy digital systems that work great in clean rooms but fail constantly in real production. Dust gets in sensors, heat fries boards, vibration shakes connections loose. Then we're down for days waiting for some specialist or parts shipped from overseas. Finally, someone who actually got it. Without your company's resources, you're limited in what you can develop, she said. Then she gestured around the machine shop. Use this space. I'm hosting the National Manufacturing Conference next month. Every major company and supplier in the industry will be there. I want you to demonstrate what's possible. Bradley will be there. Patricia's face stayed neutral. Yes, your manager's been invited to present his digital integration approach. Problem? Should have scared me. But looking at this chance to finally show what I knew was possible, I felt something click into place. Not anymore. For the next 3 weeks, I lived like some kind of spy. Days, I worked with Roger's team, running tests on sensor arrays and keeping my mouth shut. Bradley got smugger by the day, figured he'd put me in my place. Nights, I rebuilt my system in Patricia's machine shop, making it better than before. The shop wasn't as fancy as what we had at the company, but it had something more valuable, real mechanics who dealt with broken equipment every day. Carl Foster, repair guy with 30 years under his belt, took one look at my design and shook his head. This bearing assembly's gonna lock up when it gets dirty, he said, pointing to my original setup. Metal shavings get in there, whole thing jams. That night I redesigned it, made a sealed system you could clean with compressed air and basic tools. Every conversation like that taught me something new about what my equipment would face in actual factories. Night before the conference, I stepped back and looked at what I'd built. Not just my original system rebuilt, but 2 additional prototypes solving different automation problems. All working without complex electronics, all fixable by regular maintenance crews, all manufacturable at a fraction of what the fancy stuff cost. Ready for tomorrow? Patricia asked, stopping by for one last check. I ran my hand along the main control unit, a pneumatic system that could handle precision work without a single computer chip, that could operate in heat and dust that would kill electronic systems in minutes. Been ready for 2 years, just needed someone to see it. Conference day came gray and nasty, matching how I felt inside. I loaded my prototypes into Patricia's truck, each one covered and secured. Called in sick to work, told Rogers I had food poisoning. By noon, my display was set up but hidden behind partition walls Patricia arranged. My demo was scheduled for 2:30 p.m. I watched through gaps in the walls as the exhibition hall filled up. Manufacturing executives, plant managers, engineers, equipment suppliers, the whole industry in one room. My stomach was doing backflips. Through the crowd, I spotted Bradley arriving with our company's people, moving around like he owned the place, shaking hands, networking, completely clueless about what was coming. At exactly 2:30, Patricia stepped onto the small stage in the center of the hall. The crowd went quiet. Today's about innovation that serves real manufacturing needs, she said, voice carrying clear across the space. Not technology for its own sake, but solutions that work everywhere, from climate-controlled facilities to harsh industrial conditions. Her eyes found mine. Our first demonstration embodies that philosophy. Please welcome mechanical engineer Garrett Morrison. The walls got pulled back and I stepped forward. You could hear people murmuring as they looked at my automation systems. Not sleek or high-tech like the digital displays everywhere else, but different in a way you could see right off. I caught Bradley's face in the crowd. Shock, confusion, then this look like he'd swallowed something rotten as he figured out what was happening. These systems handle different automation challenges, I started, voice steadier than I expected, but they all work the same way. No electronic controls, standard tools for maintenance, manufactured at 60% lower cost than equivalent digital systems. I moved to my first prototype, a positioning system using mechanical feedback instead of electronic sensors. This design cuts production costs while boosting reliability in harsh environments. I showed how the purely mechanical system automatically adjusted for wear, stayed precise without calibration. Got a plant manager from the audience to run it through a production cycle. Any mechanic with basic training can maintain it in facilities without climate control or dust protection. Questions started flying. I answered them one by one, showing features, explaining how things worked, demonstrating maintenance procedures. Equipment reps pushed forward with business cards. Some procurement guy asked about licensing right now. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw Bradley trying to get closer, but too many people in the way. His face had gone from shock to something darker. When my demo finished, the whole hall erupted. People pushed forward to get a closer look, exchange contact info, talk about applications. Several guys from my own company watched with expressions ranging from confused to impressed, but none came over while Bradley lurked nearby. As the crowd thinned out, Patricia walked up with an older man I recognized immediately, Howard Webb, the founder of my company. Hadn't seen him in person since my job interview 3 years ago. "Impressive work," he said, running his hand along my positioning system frame. "Especially interesting since your manager recently claimed these mechanical approaches were thoroughly tested and found impractical." My stomach dropped. He said, "What?" "He's been presenting your concepts as failed experiments across the industry," Patricia said, matter of fact, claiming these designs were early attempts that proved unfeasible during development. The floor felt like it shifted under me. "When?" "Last month at the Industrial Technology Summit," Howard said. "He gave a presentation on why your company moved entirely to digital solutions. Your mechanical approach was specifically cited as outdated thinking." Howard's expression hardened as he studied my face. "I built this company to solve manufacturing problems, not chase technology fads." He handed me his card. "I've kept my board position. We should talk about your future, with or without your current management." As they walked away to let other people approach, I spotted Bradley watching from across the room. His earlier confidence had completely evaporated. He turned and pushed through the crowd toward the exit. That evening I got back to my apartment physically and emotionally drained. The day had gone better than I'd dared hope. My phone kept buzzing with messages from colleagues who'd been at the conference or heard about it through industry contacts. I ignored them all, needed space to process what happened. Just after midnight, Bradley's name lit up my phone. I watched it ring, go to voicemail, then start ringing again. After the fourth straight call, I finally answered. "Hello, Bradley." "What the hell were you thinking?" Voice tight with controlled anger. "You violated every confidentiality agreement in your contract. I didn't present company property. Every system at that demo was built with my own hands using external resources based on my original concepts. Your concepts were developed on company time using company resources. My concepts predate working here. Check my portfolio from 3 years ago. These mechanical approaches were outlined in my previous work, which I specifically retained rights to." Silence. Then, "Howard's been asking questions about your projects. What did you tell him?" "I didn't tell him anything. I showed him what's possible when innovation isn't being sabotaged." His tone changed, anger giving way to something almost desperate. "Listen, Garrett, I've always valued your experience. Maybe I was hasty about changing directions, but the industry's moving toward integrated digital solutions. We could incorporate some of your mechanical concepts gradually. Put in a good word with Howard?" I thought about every killed project, every redirected resource, every public criticism. Thought about him claiming my ideas as his own failures, using my work as an example of what not to do. Some things can't be fixed once they're broken, including trust. I hung up and turned off my phone. Next morning, I woke up to someone pounding on my door like the building was on fire. When I opened it, Rogers stood there looking like he'd seen a ghost. "You need to get to the office right now," he said. "Bradley called an emergency meeting. He's claiming you stole proprietary designs and violated your contract. He's preparing termination papers." My heart started hammering as I grabbed my jacket and followed Rogers to his car. During the drive, he filled me in on the chaos that broke loose after the conference. Half the executives are furious they didn't know about your work. The other half are trying to claim they always supported mechanical approaches. And Howard's been in the building since 7 a.m. asking hard questions. We got to the company building as storm clouds rolled in overhead. The lobby was buzzing with unusual activity for a Saturday morning. Security directed me straight to the executive conference room on the top floor. When I stepped inside, I wasn't ready for what was waiting. Howard Webb sat at the head of the table. To his right was Patricia Stone. To his left, our company's legal counsel, Linda Grant. And at the far end, pale and tight-lipped, sat Bradley. Garrett, Howard said, pointing to an empty chair. Thanks for coming. We have a situation that needs your input. I took the seat, acutely aware of every eye on me. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, lightning flashed across the darkening sky. There's disagreement about the origin of the automation systems displayed yesterday, Howard continued. Bradley has raised concerns about potential intellectual property violations. Bradley leaned forward, folder open in front of him. Garrett's designs used proprietary mechanisms developed under company resources. The demonstration was unauthorized and represents a clear breach of contract. Howard turned to me. How do you respond? Every component in those systems was designed and built by me using external resources based on work I completed before joining this company. Work specifically excluded from my employment agreement. Linda Grant, our legal counsel, looked between us. This comes down to documentation and timing. When were these concepts first developed, and what evidence exists to support each claim? I have my original design portfolio and development notes from my previous position, I said. They clearly outline the mechanical approaches I've been refining. I can provide them right now. Convenient? Bradley said dismissively, but irrelevant. Any similar concepts were substantially transformed using company resources during his employment. The innovations demonstrated yesterday incorporated techniques developed by our engineering team. Howard's eyes narrowed. Which techniques specifically? The pneumatic positioning system, for one. That was developed during the Morrison project last year. Interesting, Patricia said, sliding a tablet toward the center of the table, because I've reviewed Garrett's pre-employment portfolio from 3 years ago. The pneumatic positioning concept is clearly documented there, including stress calculations and prototype photos. Linda took the tablet, scrolling through the documents. Her eyebrows went up as she examined the evidence. There's something else we need to address, Howard said, turning to Bradley. Your presentation at the Industrial Technology Summit last month, you specifically characterized mechanical automation as a failed approach that your team had explored and abandoned. Color drained from Bradley's face. I was presenting our strategic direction. You presented Garrett's work as your own failed experiment, Howard said, his voice hardening. You claimed to have personally determined that mechanical approaches were insufficient for modern manufacturing needs. I never claimed personal. I have the presentation slides and transcript, Linda interrupted, checking her tablet. You repeatedly used phrases like my team's initial research and our early experiments when referring to mechanical concepts that match Garrett's work. Rain started hitting the windows hard as silence fell over the room. Bradley's expression shifted, calculation replacing defensiveness as he tried to figure out his next move. There seems to be some unfortunate miscommunication, he finally said, voice regaining some composure. In the pressure of presentation environments, attribution can become simplified. My intent was never to claim, this wasn't miscommunication, I said. You've been systematically undermining my work for 18 months. Howard turned to me. Elaborate. I'd spent so long being dismissed that speaking directly to company leadership felt almost foreign. But looking around the table at the evidence laid out, I found my voice. From the beginning, Bradley has redirected resources away from my projects, excluded me from relevant meetings, and misrepresented my progress to leadership. When I completed my prototype despite these obstacles, he physically destroyed it in front of our most important potential client. Patricia nodded. I witnessed that destruction firsthand. It was quite revealing. These are serious allegations, Linda said. Do you have supporting evidence beyond your testimony? Ask any engineer in the division about project reassignments over the past 18 months, or examine resource allocation reports. The pattern is consistent and documentable. Bradley's jaw tightened. This is ridiculous. We're letting personal grievances distract from the real issue of contract violation. Actually, Howard said, I think we're uncovering something far more serious than a contract dispute. He turned to Patricia. You mentioned providing resources for Garrett's recent development work. Why? Because his approach solves critical problems for American manufacturing, she replied. After witnessing both Garrett's innovation and this company's apparent disinterest, I made a strategic decision to provide alternative development pathways. Howard nodded slowly, then faced Bradley. You were hired to expand our capabilities in industrial automation, to identify and develop innovations that serve real manufacturing needs. Instead, you've systematically suppressed exactly the kind of practical engineering we should be championing. The market demands digital integration, Bradley insisted. Investors expect modern approaches, IoT connectivity, smart factory solutions. The market isn't homogeneous, Howard shot back, real anger finally breaking through. And this company wasn't built to chase whatever technology trend delivers the highest quarterly returns. We solve real problems for real manufacturers. Lightning flashed again, closer this time, illuminating the tension in the room. I sat perfectly still, watching the power dynamics shift right in front of me. "I've heard enough," Howard finally said. "Linda, prepare separation paperwork for Mr. Pierce." Bradley's face went through shock, anger, and finally cold calculation. "This is an overreaction," he said, gathering his materials. "The board will have questions about such hasty decisions." "I'm sure they will," Howard agreed, "which is why I've scheduled an emergency board meeting for Monday morning. They'll be particularly interested in the licensing inquiries that came in after yesterday's demonstration, opportunities we almost missed because of your actions." As Bradley got escorted from the room, silence settled over the rest of us. Rain kept drumming against the windows. "Garrett," Howard said after a moment, his tone softening, "I owe you an apology. This situation should have been addressed much sooner." "You couldn't have known," I replied, though part of me wondered how many other innovations had been killed by similar politics throughout the company. "Moving forward," he continued, "I'd like to establish a new division focused on practical automation solutions, with you leading development. Patricia has expressed interest in a formal partnership between her association and our company." Patricia nodded. "The systems you demonstrated have generated significant interest. We've already had inquiries from major manufacturers about licensing and distribution. The opportunity in front of me was beyond anything I'd imagined possible just days earlier. But I hesitated, remembering all the systematic obstacles I'd faced. "I appreciate the offer," I said carefully, "but I'd need complete autonomy over design direction, team selection, and transparent access to leadership when issues arise." Howard and Patricia exchanged glances. "Those terms are entirely reasonable," he agreed. "Then yes," I said, feeling a weight lift off my shoulders. "I'd be honored to lead the division." As we wrapped up the meeting and finalized next steps, I noticed the storm outside had passed. Sunlight broke through the clouds, casting long shadows across the city below. 4 months later, the first production units of our mechanical automation systems shipped to manufacturing facilities in 8 states. The feedback transformed abstract success metrics into real impact. Production lines that stayed operational in conditions that would shut down electronic systems. Maintenance costs reduced by 40% because standard mechanics could handle repairs. Uptime improvements that translated directly to jobs preserved and communities strengthened. Bradley found a position with a tech startup focused on AI-driven factory optimization. Industry contacts told me his reputation had taken a lasting hit from how things went down. Howard stayed actively involved in our division, his original passion for practical problem-solving seemingly reignited by our work. As for me, I found something I hadn't expected after all that confrontation. Not just professional vindication or career advancement, but a real sense of purpose. The systems we created weren't just products. They were proof that experience and practical knowledge still mattered in a world obsessed with the latest trends. Look, sometimes the most effective response to being undervalued isn't fighting back with anger or complaints. It's demonstrating your worth so clearly that those who tried to diminish you have to face the limitations of their own vision. Success that speaks for itself needs no additional explanation. Before I wrap this up, I want to thank you for staying with me through this whole story. If it hit home for you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more stories about professional resilience and getting recognition for your experience. Drop a comment sharing your own experiences with workplace politics or standing up for your expertise. This community grows stronger when we share our stories. Here's what I learned from all this. Your experience has value. Your knowledge matters. And sometimes the best vindication is simply showing the world what you're capable of achieving when someone finally gives you the chance. The thing about being 49 in today's workplace, people assume you're set in your ways, that you can't adapt, that your methods are outdated. But here's what they don't understand. 22 years of experience isn't just time served. It's 22 years of seeing what works and what doesn't. It's watching expensive systems fail and learning why. It's understanding that the newest isn't always the best. When I started this journey, I thought I was fighting for one project, one prototype. Turns out I was fighting for something bigger. The idea that practical solutions matter more than flashy presentations. That reliability trumps novelty. That sometimes the old ways work better than the new ones. Our division now employs 23 people. We've got contracts with manufacturers in 12 states. The Department of Defense is testing our systems for field applications. And every day, I get messages from engineers who've been pushed aside for younger managers, thanking me for proving that experience still counts for something. Carl Foster, that repair specialist who helped me redesign my bearing assembly, now heads our field testing department. Patricia Stone sits on our advisory board. Howard Webb stops by every Friday for what he calls sanity checks, making sure we're still focused on solving real problems instead of chasing trends. The mechanical automation market has changed since that day Bradley kicked my prototype across the floor. Companies are starting to realize that reliability matters more than connectivity, that uptime beats features, that systems you can fix with a wrench and some know-how might be worth more than ones that need a software engineer and an internet connection. We're not anti-technology, we're pro-practical. We use electronics where they make sense, mechanics where they work better. We design for the real world, not the boardroom. We build things that last. Last month I got invited to speak at the same industrial technology summit where Bradley had trashed my ideas. Standing on that stage, looking out at an audience of engineers and managers, I didn't talk about revenge or vindication. I talked about the 40-year-old lathe operator in Michigan whose production line hasn't gone down in 8 months because our mechanical controls don't care about dust or heat. I talked about the maintenance crew in Texas that can swap out a failed component in 20 minutes instead of waiting 3 days for a technician to fly in from California. That's the real victory. Not proving Bradley wrong, though that felt pretty good. The real victory is knowing that every day our systems are keeping people working, keeping production lines running, keeping American manufacturing competitive. So here's my advice to anyone who's been written off because of their age or their approach. Don't get mad, get busy, don't argue about why you're right, show them. Build something so undeniably useful that the conversation changes from why are you doing it that way to how fast can you make more. The world needs people who remember how things used to work, who understand why they worked, and who can apply that knowledge to today's challenges. Don't let anyone convince you that newer is always better, or that experience is just another word for obsolete. Sometimes the best revenge is not revenge at all. Sometimes it's just being so good at what you do that everyone else has to catch up. Thanks for listening. Now get out there and build something that matters. The greatest victories don't come from destroying your enemies, but from building something so valuable that their attacks become irrelevant. When you focus on creating solutions that truly matter, the marketplace becomes your judge and your vindication.